May you work in harmony with great vigor. May our study be illuminating. May we not cherish ill feeling towards each other. Om, peace, peace, peace.
This is a Hindi devotional song. The meaning of this goes as this. Has anyone ever seen such a scene where baby Krishna playing in the lap of Mother Chandramani? Village of Kamarpukur is being sanctified by advent of Godadhar. Many suffering beings has found liberation and refuge. Sharada Devi came as well in form of Devi Lakshmi. Sri Narayan came in disguise, so no one could recognize him. But lo, the word spread the news of this amazing play. देखी नहीं ऐसी लीला नहीं, देखी रे भाई, देखी नहीं ऐसी लीला नहीं, देखी रे भाई। चंद्रमणि मैया जी की गोद में खेले कन्हई, चंद्रमणि मैया जी की गोद में खेले कन्हई। देखी नहीं ऐसी लीला नहीं, देखी रे भाई, देखी नहीं ऐसी लीला नहीं, देखी रे भाई। कमरपुकुर धन्य हुआ रे गदाधर के आगमन से, कमरपुकुर धन्य हुआ रे गदाधर के आगमन से। पार हुए पापी तापी मानव रूपी हरि दर्शन से, पार हुए पापी तापी मानव रूपी हरि दर्शन से। शारदा का रूप लेके लक्ष्मी जी भी साथ आई, शारदा का रूप लेके लक्ष्मी जी भी साथ आई। देखी नहीं ऐसी लीला नहीं, देखी रे भाई, देखी नहीं ऐसी लीला नहीं, देखी रे भाई। गोलकपति नारायण की कैसी लीला कोई न जाने, गोलकपति नारायण की कैसी लीला वो ही जाने। धारण किया रूप ऐसा कोई न उनको पहचाने, धारण किया रूप ऐसा कोई न उनको पहचाने। लाख वो छुपाए फिर भी बतियाँ छुप ना पाई, लाख वो छुपाए फिर भी बतियाँ छुप ना पाई। देखी नहीं ऐसी लीला नहीं, देखी रे भाई, देखी नहीं ऐसी लीला नहीं, देखी रे भाई। चंद्रमणि मैया जी की गोद में खेले कन्हई, मैया जी के गोद में खेले कन्हई। देखी नहीं ऐसी लीला नहीं, देखी रे भाई, देखी नहीं ऐसी लीला नहीं, देखी रे भाई।
I'm reading from the book Nag Mahashaya, a saintly householder disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. Here, Nag Mahashaya talks about Swamiji. When Swami Vivekananda returned from America for the first time, Sharat Chakravarti, his disciple, went to see him. Hearing that Chakravarti was acquainted with Nag Mahashaya and that he regularly visited him, Swamiji remarked, Vayam tat tvan veshat hataha madhukaratvam khalu kriti. Our life is passed vainly in the search after truth. Only he among us is the true blessed son of our master. Then Swamiji expressed his desire to see Sri Nag Mahashaya in his village and requested Chakravarti to write to him. Receiving the news of Swamiji's arrival from America, Nag Mahashaya came to Calcutta to see him. The mud building at Belur was then completed and Swami Vivekananda was living there. Nag Mahashaya reached there in the afternoon and fell prostrate before Swamiji. When he heard that Swamiji was not doing well, he showed his anxiety and said, Thakur, that is Sri Ramakrishna, used to say that you are the chest of gold mohors. The preservation of your health will save the world from misery. The world hangs on you. After a long conversation, Swamiji requested him to live in the monastery for good. Nag Mahashaya replied, What can I do? How can I disregard our master's wish? Thakur gave me the command to live at home. Swamiji then ordered the scripture class to be closed in honor of the presence of Nag Mahashaya, and all the brahmacharis and sannyasins came there and sat before Nag Mahashaya and Swamiji. As soon as Swamiji uttered the name of Sri Ramakrishna, Nag Mahashaya stood up and shouted, Glory to Sri Ramakrishna! Glory to Sri Ramakrishna! He then said, The other day I went to Dakshineshwar and could not find our master there. Thakur is now living here in the monastery. On Swamiji's asking him whether it was proper to establish mutts and build temples, Nag Mahashaya answered, All these are accomplished at the will of the Lord, and they are for the good of the world and its beings. You must look after your health. The survival of your body will do the world the greatest good. Then Swamiji, addressing the Swamis and Brahmacharis, said, Only by seeing Nag Mahashaya one can understand to what spiritual height a man can attain through the grace of the Lord. In self-control and in renunciation, he is by far our superior. Every evening, Swamiji used to walk in the mud grounds. That day, Nag Mahashaya also walked behind him. Learning that Nag Mahashaya was not going to pass the night in the monastery, Swamiji asked a disciple to watch for a ferry boat, as it was already getting dark. Before taking leave, Nag Mahashaya prostrated before Swamiji with the words, Hail Shiva Shankara! Hail Shiva Shankara! Swamiji raised him by the hand and said, Please do come and bless us with your holy presence every now and then. Whenever he was reminded of Swamiji, Nag Mahashaya used to greet him with the words, Glory to Lord Shiva. And when the topic of his preaching religion and conquest of the Western world through spirituality arose, Nag Mahashaya would get very excited and speak of Swamiji as indeed the greatest of all heroes. Yes.
Now short period of meditation. Good morning, friends. Today's subject of discussion is Swami Vivekananda in the eyes of his brother disciples. Swami Vivekananda is a very well-known name, at least in India, and in the West, in other parts of the world also. He is known by far in the universities, among the academicians, among the thinkers, among the philosophers. Those who are interested in India or Indology or anything concerning India, they will certainly have to study about the thoughts and contribution of Swami Vivekananda as an Indian to the world thought and action. In India, Swami Vivekananda is to be found, in his statue to be found in almost all great cities, and he receives admiration in offices and factories and colleges and schools. There will be a photograph of Swami Vivekananda in all great places, and people adore. Common men, teachers, intellectuals, even those who serve the nation in the field of politics, social service, all they recognize the contribution of Swami Vivekananda. Even the spiritual leaders of other faiths, other than the followers of Swami Vivekananda, many have great admiration for the life, teaching, and the power that represented Swami Vivekananda. He has been inspired. His name, his teachings has inspired India since they knew him from the days when he manifested in the Parliament of Religions. Before that, he made smaller groups, meeting all cross-section of the society, from laborers to students, to even the rulers, kings, ministers, Devans. He met, and wherever he went, everyone knew him to be extraordinary person. A person who is by God's providence is sent to India. And after the Parliament of Religions, when the world knew about him, its impact was felt all over India. And everyone at that time was so much inspired by Swami Vivekananda. Great leaders like Mahatma Gandhi, Netaji Subhash Bose, even Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru has written so much about Swami Vivekananda in the history of India that he wrote. And so that impact was always there. So definitely there are, in Swamiji's name, there is Kanyakumari there. People visit Kanyakumari to see the statue and the place where he meditated. There are, in his name, there are bridges. There is an airport in the name of Swami Vivekananda that is established in India. So that great Swami Vivekananda, how his brother disciples saw him. So when Sri Ramakrishna saw first time him in Dakshineshwar, that time he recognized who is Narayan. And he said, "You are Nararupi Narayana. You are God himself in the form of human being." And bowed down to Narendranath. He kneeled down in front of Narendranath. And he said, "You have come to relieve the pain and suffering of humanity." That was the vision of Sri Ramakrishna. Naren was very taken aback. He didn't know about himself. To be aware of his own power and own mission in life, it took a little time. But Sri Ramakrishna instantly knew, and it was not possible for a young man of 19, 20 years to know what Sri Ramakrishna was saying. You are God himself, came in the form of human body to alleviate the suffering of humanity. How will he believe? You are just a student. And he said, Sri Ramakrishna is like a little crazy person, must be saying something which is not true. And as he started coming to Sri Ramakrishna's expression of his love and future greatness of Swami Vivekananda, this expression went on again and again in front of other people. He started comparing him with the great spiritual leaders of his time and said, what greatness you see in that world-famous spiritual leader, this Naren is much more greater than that. Naren used to feel very shy. What he said out of love for me and what people will think that he is very crazy. But that person is so great, Keshav Sen, and I am just a college student, and he compares such a way, and he thought, Naren thought, one thing he was certain that Sri Ramakrishna loved him. There was no doubt about that. But there was doubt about what Sri Ramakrishna was saying to him, about him. That was doubtful for Swami Vivekananda. And he said, out of love, he is tremendously, enormously exaggerating who I am. There was one person sitting there, young man, Latu, illiterate, just listening to this conversation and all glories about Narendranath said by Sri Ramakrishna. He had no doubt about Sri Ramakrishna saying, when the master is saying this has to come true. But no sign of that greatness, that impact on the society, in the world, alleviating the suffering of the whole world. That was the job and that was the mission of Sri Ramakrishna, mission of Swami Vivekananda set by Sri Ramakrishna. That said, he foresaw that thing. Then Sri Ramakrishna, at the time of his passing away, Mahasamadhi, he called Naren and said, what do you want? Naren said, I want to be immersed in Samadhi. Sri Ramakrishna said, that is not for you. What a mean-minded person you are. He said that. What a little-hearted person you are. Thinking about your own bliss. You are not meant for this. I thought you would be like a big banyan tree, himself living in the sun and giving shade to the suffering people. And you are asking for this? Bliss of Samadhi? You are not born for this. Don't you say that? Jo kuch hai so tu hi hai. God is experienced only in Samadhi. God can be seen with eyes closed and also eyes open. Eyes closed, you go deep into your own being and see Lord that's sitting in you. You become one with the Lord. When you open the eyes, when you see the manifestation, what is it other than God? God can be seen eyes open as He can be seen eyes closed. And don't you think that? All that exists are Thou. And that is the reality. Whatever you see is all God. And to serve this God is your birth. And for that you might have to take the suffering of the world upon you. When we said about the Christ, that Jesus took the sin of the world. So that means that they all are born. Otherwise there is no meaning. If according to karma you will not find why these great persons suffer. Why Holy Mother suffers, why Sri Ramakrishna suffers, why Jesus suffers, why Swami Vivekananda suffers. And if you go on the karma theory, they are so pure. And God incarnate what karma He has. So all this karma He has to take from our. That's why we get peace, that's why we get bliss, that's why when we read, we still find light. And the way to go out of that darkness, out of suffering, this Jesus and Buddha and Ramakrishna and Vivekananda, that all do that. That whole mission was the project that Sri Ramakrishna's advent was. He called him, said that, and said, I have a spiritual power I want to give to you. Swami Vivekananda at first refused. Then when at the last moment Sri Ramakrishna didn't ask, just touched him, and he started crying. And then he said, I have given you everything that I had, and now I have become fakir. That means whatever I had earned, the spiritual power, that is all transmitted to Swami Vivekananda, so that he transmits to the devotees, to the people all over the world. Sri Ramakrishna, inspiration. He generated all spiritual power, and that was given to a person who will transmit that, spread that throughout the world. Sri Ramakrishna could not do that in short life of 50 years, the frail body, and all life went in the accumulation, gathering of that spiritual power. that has to be done with someone else. Always it happens that way. Jesus creates this power, and St. Paul, St. Peter, they all spread that. The Swami Vivekananda, when he said, single will not happen. There are these young boys with you, young university-going boys, all brilliant, coming from high noble families of Kolkata, the then kingdom, then the capital of British India, and says, I leave these boys to your charge. See that they don't dissipate and go away and lead a normal, ordinary life. They are born to do great works. You see that they don't go back to their home. They live together, embrace monasticism, and make a huge spiritual power should generate through all youth together. 16 of them. And Swami Vivekananda understood the great responsibility that Sri Ramakrishna had accepted on him. Not only nurturing the message, but making all this band of young boys and putting them together. Who will believe this young boy, 20 years of age, 63 and 86, 23 years of age? People, all families came and wanted to take their children home. You have served Sri Ramakrishna, he was your guru, you loved him, now he is gone. Now come back home. We can't leave you. But not. When he found someone has gone, he would go home and talk to him, and that person will come. And these young boys, parents would say, this Naren is the root of all problems, you see. He takes away all our children. But Naren had nothing to do. He was just carrying out the command of his guru, Sri Ramakrishna. And he foresaw what these bunch of boys are meant for this world. He told them, you think you are an ordinary boys, ordinary persons, ordinary human beings? You are born to create history. That's how they inspired him. Now in 1886, Sri Ramakrishna passed away in August. Time rolled on, they made a monastery, they were living together, but it not had it got sannyasa, formal sannyasa. Final renouncing home. They were living together, but final renouncing home. Swami Vivekananda goes to the house of Swami Brahmananda, invited by Brahmananda's mother. He was Swami Baburam Ghosh. And there they lighted a fire on the courtyard and started meditating, deep meditation. 9 of them, young boys, only one was elder. Who were there? Narendra, Baburam, Sharad, Shashi, Tarak, Kali, Niranjan, Gangadhar, and Sarada. These all were young people. So all they went and they started meditating. And after that meditation was over, deep night, Swami Vivekananda started talking about Jesus Christ and his service to humanity, his spiritual ministration, his personal life of renunciation. In such glowing words, Swami Vivekananda started to describe to his friends about him and said, we need to renounce the world to do something important and unique to this world, as wished by the Master. All they decided at that moment, yes, they are going to renounce. And inspired by the life of renunciation of Jesus Christ. One follower of Sri Ramakrishna. He didn't talk about the renunciation of Sri Ramakrishna, which was not less than Jesus Christ's renunciation. He didn't talk about the renunciation of Shankara, whom Sri Ramakrishna followed. He talked about the renunciation of Jesus Christ. Ramakrishna mission was to be founded. The followers of Vedanta had to take the message and inspiration from the world spiritual leaders all over the world. No one was to be excluded. All had to come and inspire and make the organization grow. The followers of Ramakrishna mission, that's why they revere and respect Jesus Christ as Sri Ramakrishna. They respect every religion as their own religion. So that was to be instilled, and they found later it was 24th December, the Christmas Eve. Swamiji didn't know. They were unaware of this Christmas Eve, but that came. how Sri Ramakrishna was guiding. You know one story? Once Swami Kripamayananda had gone to Puri. And in the Puri, he was so liberal, very loving soul. And he was not going to any conflict like that. He was going to the temple, he found a group of people all there. In the middle was a priest was preaching the message of Jesus and criticizing all the teachings of Hinduism. That priest in Jagannath temple talking to the Hindus and criticizing all things of Hinduism. This is bad, that is nonsense, this, that, and what is good? Only to become Christian is good. Not even Jesus, to be Christian is good. For Baburam Maharaj, when he heard it was too much, he went in the middle of that and he started arguing with that person and he scolded that person. What are you saying this? You don't know anything about Hinduism. How little you know? And you have started criticizing. He said left and right, and that man had to go. At night, Baburam Maharaj was sleeping. He sees in the dream Sri Ramakrishna coming. He says, Baburam, what did you do that? He was talking about me. And he insulted that person. Tomorrow morning we are going to go to him and ask for pardon from that person. You have no right to insult that person. He was talking about me because he was talking about Jesus and his teachings and how great they are compared to Hinduism. Maybe one person was wrong, but it is right. Okay, he has the right to teach about Jesus. He went, Baburam Maharaj went there and he asked for pardon. What I did yesterday was wrong. Please forgive me. That is Sri Ramakrishna. Sri Ramakrishna and Jesus, they are not different. People ask, why do you worship Jesus here? Jesus and Sri Ramakrishna and Buddha, are they different or the same being appearing a different being, person at different times? The same personality. Sri Ramakrishna himself says, there is one Rishi Krishna, there is Krishna, because it is called Keshto. The Krishna appeared at one place in Gokula and Vrindavan. He was born in Mathura and then he lived in Vrindavan and then Kurukshetra and then Dwarka. He was born in India, lived there at one time of the time. But he came where? From where Sri Krishna came? From an infinite existence of infinite reality, Satchidananda. Use Satchidananda, the wave comes, use big wave, we call Krishna. Then Krishna subsides, mixes again that with the reality from where it has come. From the same wave at another time, in another place, another wave comes, and that is Jesus. Rishi Kesto and Jishu Kesto. The same thing, Rishi Krishna and Jishu Krishna. Same being, in different time, in different place, just that is the thing. So that was Sri Ramakrishna's teaching, no difference between Krishna and Christ. So that might be the reason that he was inspired by Jesus Christ and inspired and all they promised to take. The life of monastic life. When that was decided, now they are all living together, and it is said that how this Sarada Prasanna was one, how he interacted with Swami Vivekananda, you see, when they were living in Varanagar Math. There is a conversation in the Gospel I like to read from there. 2 or 3 months after this, Sarada, who later became Swami Vivekananda, his loving heart, disturbed by the sorrow of his parents and fearful that he would be captured by their love for him, ran away from Varanagar. He was not gone for long. Indeed, he got only as far as Purnagar, a small town a few miles to the north of the other side of the Ganga. He had taken with him only 1 or 2 pieces of cloth and a picture of the master. He had no money. It must have been in connection with this episode that in later years Swami Saradananda once reminisced, Sarada was like a child. He believed whatever anyone told him. He had no experience beyond his home. Once he wanted to go to Vrindavan and thought it was just a few miles from Calcutta. This Swami Saradananda wrote about Swami Kripamayananda before they were established. On his return, Sarada's older monastic brothers, Rakhal, Tarok and Narendra, took turns consoling him and persuading him not to be so foolish again. Narendra sang again and again for him in soul-rendering voice. Swami Brahmananda reasoned lovingly with him. Just see the love this brother monks had among themselves, you see. So much love. Where do you want to go running away from here? Swami Brahmananda says. This Rakhalet. Here you are in the company of holy men. Wouldn't it be foolish to run away from this? Where will you find another like Narendra? My parents live in Calcutta, Sarada replied. I am afraid I'll be drawn by their love. That's why I want to flee to a distant place. Can our parents love us as intensely as Guru Maharaj Ramakrishna did? Rakhal asked. What have we done for him to give all this love to us? That's what Swami Brahmananda said about Sri Ramakrishna. It's very unique in the history of monastic order that a brother disciple is honored like Guru, like the teacher, like the master. That is seen in the Ramakrishna mission. How Swami Vivekananda, all monastic brother disciples respected him and listened to his command is very unique. In Varanagar Mutt, to test Swami Ramakrishnananda's love for Sri Ramakrishna. You know, Swami Ramakrishnananda, Shashi Maharaj, had great love for Sri Ramakrishna. When Sri Ramakrishna was sick, he served him. After he passed away and his ashes were brought, he considered ashes to be the very physical body of Sri Ramakrishna and treated him like that. He used to offer food, he used to offer flowers, bathe, everything he used to do to the urn, but ashes were kept. Atmaram Koto, they call it. The box of Atmaram, where Atmaram is there. The joy of Atman, that is the relics of Sri Ramakrishna, is contained in that coat of his box, a container. And Swami, and whenever there was rain coming to the old house, and rain would fall there, and Shashi would get up at the middle of the night and open the umbrella and sit there, that no raindrops should fall on that urn where Sri Ramakrishna's ashes were kept. For others it would maybe ashes, for Swami Ramakrishnananda it was his body. He served that way. Once some fruit was to be offered to Sri Ramakrishna, and Naren came and said, I'm feeling very hungry. Where is something? There's all poverty stricken. And he said, no, food is there. I can see something is kept there. I will go and take that. He said, that is for offering. What do you mean that that old person will eat? I'm feeling so hungry. He went there, and Swami Ramakrishnananda came jumping and pushed Sri Swami Vivekananda from that. You cannot take what is kept from Sri Ramakrishna. How much bold he was. And this was even before they were taking sannyas. And when time came to give the name for after sannyas, who will have whose name? Narendranath did that on behalf of Sri Ramakrishna. They took sannyas in the name of Sri Ramakrishna, and Narendranath gave to Swami, to Latu Maharaj, who was so wonderment of Sri Ramakrishna, that illiterate, coming from a very poor person, no scripture read, nothing, and this is the greatest renunciation, wonderful service to Sri Ramakrishna. It's very wonderment of Sri Ramakrishna. He says, Latu is the miracle of Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda said, and he gave him name Adbhutananda. Swami Vivekananda himself was very fond of Sri Ramakrishna. By that time he knew how much Sri Ramakrishna loved him. And then he wanted to keep that Ramakrishnananda name for himself. But he felt Shashi loved Ramakrishna perhaps more than me. So the most affectionate name that Swami Vivekananda would have chosen for himself, he sacrificed that name for Shashi Maharaj. And he gave the name Swami Ramakrishnananda to Shashi Maharaj. And after America, Swami Vivekananda came back. And then I'll tell that story about Swami Shashi Maharaj later on. When Swami Vivekananda came back from America and started that we may have to make an organization whose motto will be service for the world as a spiritual practice, because service alone will give practice, many disciples had doubt. because Sri Ramakrishna said realization of the God is the goal of life. He didn't talk much about service, though passingly he had said Shiva Jnani Jiva Seva, serving Jiva as Shiva, but there was not that this much emphasis on service given. More was on loving God, crying for God, praying to God, meditating on God. But the service aspect, they thought Swami Vivekananda brought it, saw in the world. Christian missionaries were already in the service of like schools and hospitals they were running. He took it and wants to copy from some he saw in the West is doing. So there was big opposition for Swami Vivekananda starting a service mission or Ramakrishna mission. And many were opposed to that. And someone has to speak. So Swami Yogananda said, Sri Ramakrishna never said this. Where you have brought this thing? And Latu Maharaj also that. He said, you are saying Ishavataram, or you are saying about the Ishavataram to Sri Ramakrishna? Is it the incarnation of Jesus Christ? So something like that. They were always confused. So then there were altercation with Yogananda. Point blank, he blamed that you have imitated this from the West and it was not the original teaching of Sri Ramakrishna to start a service mission. To that Swami Vivekananda said, Sri Ramakrishna told something to you and he told something to me. And do you think I do anything that is not the will of Sri Ramakrishna? That is something that Sri Ramakrishna didn't tell and I am going to do that which is opposed to his ideal. Nothing will I do that opposes the ideal of Sri Ramakrishna. What he has said to me, what he wanted from me, that we do not know. That's why I think opposition. And then, let me read from there when it was opposed. On another occasion, when the Swami was staying at Balaram Babu's house, he was talking in a light mood with some of his brother monks and with some lay disciples of the Master. At such times, he would be full of wit and jokes. Swami Adbhutananda was taking him to task for not preaching the ideas of Sri Ramakrishna. This was not he was speaking, it was all the brother disciples were talking. He is talking about Vedanta, he is talking about the Eastern religion, Buddha, Islam. But where is Sri Ramakrishna's message he is spreading? Where is Sri Ramakrishna being preached there? And Swami Vivekananda deliberately didn't talk about Sri Ramakrishna because they already have Jesus, personality is already there. He wanted to first preach the principle. Attracted by the principle, people will come to the form, to the personality. First principle, then personality will follow automatically and it will be just it will follow the course of time. If you preach another person is great, he has great sacrifice, they will say, why Sri Ramakrishna? We have Jesus, everything in Jesus is there. Why you have to accept another person? They will not accept the teaching. That's why he taught Vedanta, but how will they know? So Adbhutananda said, so Adbhutananda was taking him to task for not preaching the ideas of Sri Ramakrishna and was challenging him to prove how his plans could be reconciled with the latter's teaching. Sri Ramakrishna insisted above all on bhakti and on the practice of sadhana for the realization of God. While the Swami, Adbhutananda pointed out in Swamiji, was constantly urging them to go about preaching and serving the poor and the diseased. Those things that turned the mind outward, which was the great impediment to sadhana. This according to Swami Adbhutananda. Then again, the Swami's idea of starting mutts and homes of service for the public good, his ideas of organization and of patriotism, which were undoubtedly Western in conception, his efforts to create a new type of sannyasi with a broader ideal of renunciation and other ideas similar in spirit were incompatible with Sri Ramakrishna's ideal of renunciation and would surely have been repudiated by him. Swamiji at first took these observations of Swami Adbhutananda lightly and retorted jokingly. So this was not Adbhutananda just saying, but see the greatness of Adbhutananda, he came to confront Swami Vivekananda. So learned leader of the group, he shook the whole world by his speech in the Parliament of Religion. Swami Adbhutananda came front and is confronting. You have not done the right thing, you have not praised Master, you are saying, introducing something new that Master didn't say. Now Swami Vivekananda first found this challenge and he said, what? Swami started jokingly saying, Swami Vivekananda said, what do you know? You are an ignorant man. You are indeed a fit disciple of Sri Ramakrishna, like Guru, like Chela. Your education ended with Ka, the first letter of the alphabet. Like that of Prahlada. Being reminded by Ka of Krishna, he would not proceed further. You are bhakta, in other words, sentimental fools. You are bhakta, in other words, sentimental fools. That's how Swami Vivekananda started saying all this. Jokingly he was saying. What do you understand of religion? You are babies. You are only good at praying with folded hands. Oh Lord, how beautiful your nose is, how sweet your eyes are, and such nonsense. And you think your salvation is secured? That Sri Ramakrishna will come at the final hour and take you up by the hand to the highest heaven? Study public preaching and doing humanitarian works are, according to you, Maya. Because Sri Ramakrishna did not do them himself. Because he said to someone, seek and find God first. Doing good to the world is presumptuous. As if God realization is such an easy thing to achieve. As if he is such a fool as to make himself a plaything in the hands of an imbecile. So that was big retort by Swami Vivekananda to this young person. Swami Kripamayananda later told a devotee, you see later, after many years, I was stunned to hear all these things. And when some other brother monk tried to say something, taking up the thread of our talk, Vivekananda grew more and more serious. I think it is Swami Yogananda later on confronted. First was Swami Kripamayananda then, later on he confronted. And thundered on. The Swami now said, you think you understand Sri Ramakrishna better than myself? You think jnana is dry knowledge to be attained by a desert path, killing out the tenderest faculties of heart? Your bhakti is sentimental nonsense, which makes one impotent. You want to preach Ramakrishna as you have understood him, which is mighty little. Hands off. Who cares for your Ramakrishna? Who cares for your bhakti and mukti? Who cares that what the scriptures say? I will go to hell cheerfully 1,000 times if I can rouse my countrymen immersed in tamas and make them stand on their own feet and be men, inspired with the spirit of Karma Yoga. I am not a follower of Ramakrishna or anyone. I am a follower of him only who carried out my plans. I am not a servant of Ramakrishna or anyone, but of him only who serves and helps others without caring for his own mukti. See the spirit. But it's just saying in the buff, you see how much he loves Ramakrishna will come later. The Swami's voice became choked, his frame shook with intense emotion. He could not contain himself any longer. Tears streamed from his eyes. In a flash, he was on his feet and ran from the room to his sleeping apartment. And later on, they asked him knock the door and then came out and departed, so we didn't know that. So, but how did he see Ramakrishna? But he said, I don't care for Ramakrishna. That was just for saying his love was so deep for Ramakrishna, you see. At length the Swami broke the silence, he broke the silence saying, when one attains bhakti, one's heart and nerves become so soft, it told later on, so soft and delicate that they cannot bear even the touch of a flower. Do you know that I cannot even read a novel nowadays? I cannot think or talk of Sri Ramakrishna long without being overwhelmed. So I am trying always to keep down the rush of bhakti wheeling within me. I am trying to bind myself with the iron chain of jnana, for still my work to my motherland is unfinished, and my message to the world not yet fully delivered. So as soon as I find that bhakti feelings are coming up to sweep me off my feet, I give them a hard knock and make myself adamant by bringing off austere jnana. Oh, I have work to do. I am a slave of Ramakrishna, who left his work to be done by me, and will not give me rest till I have finished it. Oh, how shall I speak of him, of his love for me? Swami Yogananda and others, fearing return of his devotional fervor, asked him whether he would not like an evening stroll on the roof, diverting him from his thought. That was his emotion and love for Sri Ramakrishna. He had fully understood love for Sri Ramakrishna. So when he came back from the West, in the West itself, he asked Abhedananda to go. He was a very austere sadhu, immersed in Vedanta. He said, "Come, you have to preach." And Abhedananda, before his landing, he had announced what he is going to preach, and he didn't inform the topic to Abhedananda. And he comes down, lands on the city in London, and there is Abhedananda, all the pamphlets are out. He was a little unhappy that you didn't even let me know that I have to preach, I have to prepare. But he went and preached, and everybody liked. That was the work of Sri Swami Vivekananda was doing. It was not an easy work to establish this great work from the people living in Calcutta to come to the whole world and preach the things. And he had to little force them. Abhedananda was a great scholar, and he considered himself not less than Swami Vivekananda, but he had later on written a wonderful poem on Swami Vivekananda. So Desh Videsh Puchali Uti se. Like that whole universe is like in the waves in the name of Swami Vivekananda. What new mutt you have created, what new thought you have given to the world, great praise that he has given. And he said, Abhedananda, you be here and preach Vedanta in the West. I go back. And also called Swami Saradananda. Went to India, established Ramakrishna Mission. Had to have one general secretary. Now called back Swami Saradananda. Come here, take the charge of general secretary. Very quiet person. Very quiet, never get agitated. Big institution coming up. They need someone who can adjust with everyone. So he found the Swami Saradananda. Yet in disposal only the 16 disciples and few lay disciples. For that he had to start a huge work, huge machine was to be set in motion on that. And Saradananda was given the charge of General Secretary, and he used to say, your blood is like the sandfish, never boils, you never get angry, I've seen. He could never make Saradananda angry. So that was his relation. Whatever Swamiji said, when time came that Saradanandaji was to be president of the order, he refused that. He said, I want to become president. Everyone wanted, all the trustees wanted unanimous decision, he should be the president. He said, no, I won't be president. You know why? He said, Swami Vivekananda kept me as a general secretary. That is his final wish. So much honor to the brother disciple, like the Guru. They respected Swami Vivekananda as they would have respected Sri Ramakrishna. That was their respect. And Swami Ramakrishnananda, so much devoted, they were worshipping Sri Ramakrishna. Swami Vivekananda came from the West and said, you have to go to South India. He doesn't know language, he was always devoted. What he has to do? Not the puja only. He has to preach Vedanta, preach the message of Sri Ramakrishna. Doesn't know language, doesn't know anything. Oh, Naren said, sure, no other word. And he went to South India and did such a great work in South India, that apostle of Sri Ramakrishna to the south, not only in Tamil Nadu, but the whole of south was that Swami Ramakrishna work. Babu Ram Maharaj was after he sent Ramakrishna Anandji to the west, to the south, then who into the worship of Sri Ramakrishna in Belur Math, it was given to Babu Ram Maharaj, Swami Kripamayananda. He worshipped everything and with all diligence, very loving monk, loving to everyone. And then when one day he said, Babu Ramda, he was senior a few years to Swami Vivekananda, and used to call him brother, elder brother. Babu Ramda, not so much of doing ringing the bell only, you have to do the service also. He was senior in age. And Sri Ramakrishna said, he so much praised him. Babu Ram is Daradi, he feels my needs, he has the compassionate heart. And he is so pure, his very bones are pure. So much of Swami Sri Ramakrishna said about Babu Ram, that so Babu Ram, I said, not only ringing bell, you have to go and find someone to serve. Go to Belur Bazar and find whom you can serve. You have to worship God in human beings. Babu Ram gave him work. He went to Belur Bazar and searched up some, found one old widow and brought him there and started serving him and feeding whatever he needed. So how Swami Vivekananda said, and it was a command for everyone. Then he sent Swami Turiyanandaji, so Hari Bhai, and he said, come, go to the West and preach Vedanta. You have seen Kshatriya Teja, power of Kshatriya, Rajasic, he said. Swami Vivekananda was, of course, Rajasic, otherwise how this work will do. But full of Sattva he was. He manifests Rajas, he manifests Sattva, he can manifest anything. He was born of the power of Shiva, we all know that. And he said to Turiyananda, Haribhai, now you have to organize a young band of people, devotees that are coming. Be here, don't go back to India. So Haribhai was there, very difficult, Shanti Ashram was working, no water, no electricity, very cold in winter, very hot in summer in California, somewhere big land. And he was training brahmachari. Somehow he felt the premonition that Swami Vivekananda will not leave. And his heart just wanted to go back to India to meet him. When he went, he couldn't meet, but he couldn't stay back, as told by Swami Vivekananda. For which, all his life he said, I didn't do the right thing. Narendra said me to stay there, and he came back. And he used to inspire people to work for, on the ideals of Swami Vivekananda. Work is great. He was like ascetic of Gita. Sri Ramakrishna himself said he is an ascetic of the Gita. What is taught in the Gita is all manifested in Swami Turiyananda. And that person emphasized work. To young novices that used to come in India, he said, you must work as taught by Swami Vivekananda. By that will be the salvation. And Turiyananda is the one who said at the last breath, Brahma Satya, Jagat Satya. He didn't say Brahma Satya, Jagat Mithya. Holy life said Brahma Satya, Jagat Mithya. At the last breath he said Brahma Satya, Jagat Satya. Can God be seen only by closed eyes? When you open the eyes, is there no God? Sri Ramakrishna is saying. Brahman is truth, and this whole manifestation of this Brahman is also true. It's all God that appears in this world. Brahma Satya, Jagat Satya. How that experience has went beyond the Vedas, teachings of the Vedas. Sri Ramakrishna teaching, they said, my experience has gone beyond the teaching that are found in the Vedas. In fact, Vedas talk about the Brahman. The experience has to be done ourselves. Any Brahmagyani's experience will go beyond the teaching that is contained in the Vedas. Swami Mahapurush Maharaj was also very much loved by Swami Vivekananda. You know, during Varanagar time, Swami Vivekananda used to sit on a bed. Mahapurush Maharaj, he wakes up at night and he finds in the place of Swami Vivekananda there was small Shivas playing there. No Swami Vivekananda, all has become like many Shivas there, small Shivas. So he said, what happened to me? And then he realized this Swami Vivekananda is the manifestation of Shiva. So someone asked to Mahapurush Maharaj, Swami Shivananda, Maharaj, who gave you the name Mahapurusha? Swami Shivananda ji. It was Swamiji who started calling me Mahapurusha, monk. Why was there any special reason for it? Swami, yes, there was. In those days when he used to visit the master, I frequently had to go to home because I had been married. It was distasteful for me. Somehow or other, I would spend the night at home repeating the name of the Lord. My wife was very unhappy and would cry. I spoke out about it to the master and prayed that my worldly bondage be destroyed. After hearing my story, the master asked me to perform a certain ritual and said in a tone of assurance, have no fear. I am there to protect you. Think of me and perform this ritual. Nothing adverse will happen to you. I am telling you that even if you sleep in the same room with your wife, you will be free from danger. You will see it will rather intensify your spirit of renunciation. The master prescribed the same ritual for Swami Brahmananda. I went through the ritual as instructed and did not have any trouble. In the course of conversation, I once mentioned this incident to Swamiji. He was very much surprised and remarked, what do you say? It is the characteristic of a Mahapurusha. You are certainly one. After that, he started calling me by this name, and others did the same. Previously, Swamiji used to call me Tarakdar. One day at Balaram Babu's house, as Swamiji called me Mahapurusha, Swami Premananda's mother remarked, what did you say? Is that Mahapurusha one who lives in a tree? what kind of a Mahapurusha he is. Swamiji explained that I was a genuine Mahapurusha, a great soul. It pleased her very much. That's how Swami Vivekananda saw greatness in Swami Shivananda. When there was the case of who will become president after Swami Brahmananda, there were two contenders. When Swami Vivekananda had come back from the States and Swami Shivananda. Vedanta was learned, was in the States for 21 years, built Vedanta, wrote so many books. Shivananda was just a devotee of God and simple person. But all trustees were in favor of Swami Shivananda. You see the greatness that Swamiji always saw. You are a Mahapurusha. So there are also some incidents with Gopalda. One thing I'll tell about how Swami Vivekananda was, Vivekananda was very close to Swami Vivekananda because of construction of Belur Math. He joined much later, the Ramakrishna order. But Vivekananda, he was a civil engineer and he was a disciple of Sri Ramakrishna. He later got sannyas and Swamiji says his name Swami Vivekananda. And he traveled with Swamiji all over India to find structure for the temple that will be made. And he took the idea from different cultures of India, from Rajasthan, from Bengal, from church, from mosque, and all that, and Ajanta, all that are all there in the Belur temple. Before that, when he was in charge of filling the land that Ganga had taken away, making the border state, Posta Bandhana it's called, making the embankment of Ganga on Belur Math. So he was working day and night, very hard time during daytime, it was very summertime, and he was sweating, thirsty. So someone brought a glass of water at the daytime in the summer to Swami Vivekananda. And he said, Swami Vivekananda sent this for you. Because after Swami Vivekananda returned from the West and all that towards him. And he took the glass and he found, when he saw the glass, there were only a few drops left at the bottom. Oh, Swamiji is making jokes with me. I'm working so hard here. And still Swamiji sent it, so he drank the few drops. He said, to my surprise, I found my all thirst was gone. I was fully satisfied. What a great power and blessing was there in Swami Vivekananda's thing. When they were constructing Belur Math and this embankment and all those things, there was dearth of money. So they told Swami Vivekananda, Swami Brahmananda and Swami Vivekananda that it will be so much expensive. They didn't say in the future how much will be taken. And Swami Vivekananda agreed because something had to be built. And when the construction started, Swami Vivekananda came to know it will be much more expensive. So he scolded Swami Vivekananda. What are you doing? You are doing that. You have started. Where the money will come? We could do late. So Swami Vivekananda said it was by the decision of Swami Brahmananda, who is the president of the order. So he went to Brahmananda and scolded him right and left. You see, Swami Vivekananda used to scold, used to choose very choicest words in his scold. Swami Brahmananda started crying. So much insult to the president, you see. And when he saw Swami, in emotion, Swami Vivekananda scolded, but when it was too much for Swami Brahmananda and he started crying and went to his room, Swami Vivekananda knocked the door, he came out crying, he embraced Swami Brahmananda and said, and touched his feet. And what did I do? Whom was loved so much by Sri Ramakrishna, and you were like my elder brother, you were the son of Sri Ramakrishna. So he touched his feet, saying, Jesta Bhrata Pitu Sama. The elder brother is like father. Instead of doing that, I scolded him, please forgive me. Touch Swami Brahmananda's feet. Swami Brahmananda said, also touch Swami Vivekananda's feet, and he said that elder brother is like father. No. Guru Putra, Guruvat Guru Putreshu. Swami Vivekananda had said, Guruvat Guru Putreshu. Guru's son should be respected like Guru. So I should respect you like Guru, and I was scolding you. Then Swami Brahmananda touched Swami Vivekananda's feet and said, Jesta Bhrata Pitu Sama. You are elder to us, you are our leader. And elder brother should be respected like one's father. That was the relationship that all brother disciples had with Swami Vivekananda. This was only about the monastic brothers. What about other brother disciples, like Nag Mahasaya, which was way? How did Girish Chandra Ghosh saw Swami Vivekananda, he said, it is the glory of Sri Ramakrishna that has made me fit to sit on the same level with you, Narendranath. So that was the thing, and Swami Vivekananda used to be so happy when Girish used to come. He had dressed on Shivaratri with the dress of Shiva and wearing jata and all that. After some time, he opened that and put that all on Girish Ghosh. So much was the respect given to Girish Ghosh, and Girish Ghosh said, it is the grace of Sri Ramakrishna that I can sit with whom you are. And you see how everyone saw Swami Vivekananda as the power of Shiva coming through him, Nagmasan reading with it, and all brother disciples respected him like the true leader and like their guru. That was the thing. Someone asked, why Swami Vivekananda worshipped Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother? Why should Swami Vivekananda, the disciple, be worshipped as one of the three? And why to make a trinity? The answer, they said, we don't know. His own brother disciples started worshipping him like the deity, like God, like equal to Sri Ramakrishna. What we have to say? That is the greatness of Swami Vivekananda, that brother disciples would find after some time in the glory of, in the light of the glory of Sri Ramakrishna. And you know, Holy Mother's that famous teaching that someone complained, why disciple and guru are worshipped in the same state? Mother, are they doing right? Sri Ramakrishna and Swami Vivekananda in the same state? The Holy Mother said, oh, they are worshipping on the same level? If Sri Ramakrishna was there, he would not be happy with this. He said, if Sri Ramakrishna was living, he would not keep him aside. He would keep Swami Vivekananda on his own lap. So much was the love and feeling of unity. You know that story how Sri Ramakrishna said, do you think you are separate from me? You and I are one, like that he has said. So Swami Vivekananda was recognized as one with Sri Ramakrishna. That's why in the Ramakrishna mission we say, Swami Vivekananda, Holy Mother and Sri Ramakrishna, the Trinity are three in one and one in three. When we worship Swami Vivekananda, we worship all three. We worship Holy Mother, we worship all three. And all three, one in three and three in one. That is our concept.